Your soulmate is saying, "Please open this, before I make the biggest decision of my life." Watch this now because they truly love you. My beloved child, don't skip. Stay till the end because something huge is waiting for you. There is a reason this message found you at this exact moment. It was not an accident. It was not random. Somewhere beneath the silence, the unanswered questions, and everything that has been left unsaid, your soulmate is standing at an emotional crossroads. And the decision in front of them is bigger than you may realize. For a long time, they have been carrying words they wanted to give you but never knew how to say. They imagined conversations that never happened. They replayed certain memories when nobody else was around. They wondered what you were feeling, whether you had moved on, whether your heart still remembered something theirs could not forget. But now something has changed. They are tired of pretending that this connection means less than it does. They are tired of convincing themselves that silence is safer. And before they decide what they are going to do next, there is something they desperately wish you understood. Listen carefully, because the biggest revelation is still ahead. Your soulmate does not want you to believe their hesitation means they stopped caring. That may be the exact opposite of what has been happening. There have been moments when they wanted to reach toward you, speak honestly, and finally reveal the thoughts they had been protecting. But every time they came close, another question entered their mind. What if the timing is wrong? What if you no longer feel the same? What if opening their heart changes everything? What if they waited too long? Those questions became walls. And behind those walls, their feelings kept growing. Have you ever wondered why certain memories refuse to disappear, even after you have tried to focus on something else? Why one conversation can return to your mind unexpectedly? Why a face, a voice, or a feeling can suddenly appear in the middle of an ordinary day? Sometimes the heart continues holding what the mind has tried to place in the past. And somewhere, your soulmate may have been experiencing that same strange pull. They have been wondering why certain thoughts of you still feel unfinished. But there is something even deeper. They have been asking themselves whether the distance between you was really the end of something, or preparation for something neither of you understood at the time. Don't skip. Because what comes next changes the meaning of the waiting. For so long, delay may have looked like rejection. Silence may have looked like indifference. Distance may have looked like an answer. But your soulmate has slowly begun to see the possibility that some things could not happen earlier because both hearts were still becoming ready for what real love would require. Not perfect. Ready. There is a difference. They are beginning to understand that love is not only about finding someone who makes your heart race. It is about becoming someone capable of staying when life becomes ordinary. Someone capable of speaking when silence feels easier. Someone capable of listening without immediately defending themselves. Someone capable of choosing honesty when fear says, hide. And your soulmate knows they have been learning those lessons. Some of them painfully. They wish they could tell you something tonight. I was not waiting for you to become perfect. I was trying to become brave enough to love you honestly. Let those words stay with you for a moment. Because that is not the biggest confession. Not yet. Your soulmate has thought about the person you are beneath everything other people see. They have thought about your kindness. Your softness. Your ability to continue even after difficult seasons try to make you close your heart. They have thought about the courage you sometimes forget you possess. And they have never needed you to erase every imperfection before being worthy of love. They are not waiting for some flawless version of you. They do not need you to pretend your past never happened. They do not need you to become somebody else. In fact, one of the things they wish you understood is that the parts of yourself you sometimes question may be the exact places where someone sincere would recognize your strength. The scars that made you gentler. The disappointments that taught you patience. The nights that taught you how to survive without applause. The mistakes that gave you wisdom. The seasons when you felt forgotten but kept walking anyway. Your soulmate does not see those things as proof that you are damaged. They see a story. A human story. And perhaps that is why their next decision feels so serious. Because once someone truly sees your heart, walking away from what they feel becomes much harder. Stay till the end because something huge is waiting for you. The decision they are facing is not simply whether they have feelings. That question is becoming easier. The harder question is whether they are finally going to do something with those feelings. Will they continue protecting themselves? Or will they risk being known? Will they let fear make another decision? Or will they finally say what has been living inside them? There is one sentence they have repeated silently more than once. I hope I am not too late. And that sentence reveals more than you may think. Because underneath it lies regret. Not necessarily regret over one dramatic mistake. Sometimes regret is quieter. It is the message never sent. The conversation postponed. The apology delayed. The truth almost spoken. The moment someone wanted to say, wait, there is more, but watched you walk away instead. Your soulmate has been thinking about those quiet moments. And this is where everything begins to change. They realize there may never be a perfect moment. There may never be a day when fear completely disappears. There may never be absolute certainty about how you will respond. Love does not always hand people guarantees. Sometimes it gives them a choice. Remain safe and wonder forever. Or speak honestly and discover what is real. Listen carefully. Because they are closer to that choice than they have ever been. But before you imagine them running toward you with some perfect speech, there is another truth they want you to know. They do not want to disturb your peace. They do not want to enter your life simply because they are lonely. They do not want to make promises they cannot keep. They have started asking themselves a more mature question. If I open this door, am I ready to walk through it with honesty? That question matters. Because your soulmate is beginning to understand that feelings alone are not enough. Love has to become behavior. Care has to become consistency. Hope has to become courage. Words eventually have to become choices. And perhaps the waiting has been teaching them exactly that. What looked like delay may have been preparation. What looked like an empty season may have been quietly building emotional strength. What looked like two people moving farther apart may have forced both of them to understand what they truly wanted. Nothing meaningful has to be wasted. Sometimes the future changes the way the past looks. Have you ever considered that? What if one day you look back at something that confused you and finally understand why it could not happen earlier? What if one conversation explains years of questions? What if one honest sentence makes an old silence look completely different? Your soulmate has imagined that possibility. But there is one detail they have barely admitted even to themselves. They are afraid that while they were deciding whether they were ready, you were learning how to live without them. That thought has changed something inside them. Suddenly, waiting no longer feels harmless. Silence no longer feels neutral. Because they know every day they say nothing is also a day when your life continues. You keep growing. You keep meeting people. You keep discovering new parts of yourself. You keep becoming someone who may eventually stop looking back. And your soulmate knows they do not have the right to ask you to freeze your life while they find courage. That realization is part of the decision. My beloved child, they wish your heart could hear this. Please don't stop living for me. That may sound surprising. But listen carefully. They do not want your love to become a waiting room. They do not want you counting days, chasing signs, or putting your happiness on hold. They want you to continue becoming who you are meant to become. Laugh when something is funny. Accept new opportunities. Protect your peace. Take care of your heart. Build a life that feels meaningful even before anyone else arrives to share it. Because if two people are truly meant to meet again in honesty, the strongest meeting will not happen between two people who stopped living. It will happen between two people who continued growing. And there is something even deeper beneath that thought. Your soulmate hopes that if your paths cross at the right moment, you will recognize each other not through desperation, but through peace. Not because you need someone to rescue you. Not because they need you to fill an emptiness. But because something in the connection feels calm enough to be trusted. One day, perhaps in a completely ordinary moment, a conversation may suddenly feel different. Nothing dramatic may happen at first. No thunder. No perfect movie scene. Maybe only a look that lasts a second longer than expected. A smile that feels strangely familiar. A conversation that should have been ordinary but refuses to leave your mind. And something inside you may quietly wonder. Why does this feel like I already know you? Your soulmate has imagined that moment too. Not with every detail decided. Not with a perfect location. But with a feeling. Recognition. A strange emotional familiarity. Two people realizing that life had been shaping them long before the meeting made sense. But don't skip. The final promise has not arrived yet. Before your soulmate makes the biggest decision of their life, they want you to understand what has been happening inside their heart. They have been reviewing everything they once believed love was supposed to look like. They once thought certainty would come first. Now they understand courage sometimes has to come before certainty. They once thought the right connection would have no complications. Now they understand that two real people bring histories, fears, hopes, boundaries, lessons, and responsibilities into love. They once believed feelings should automatically create a future. Now they understand that a future is something two people build deliberately. This realization is why the decision feels different now. They are no longer asking only, "Do I miss you?" They are asking, "Can I show up differently? Can I communicate when I am afraid? Can I be patient without becoming distant? Can I listen to what you need instead of assuming? Can I give you clarity instead of confusion?" Those are the questions of someone whose heart is beginning to move from fantasy toward something real. And one answer keeps rising inside them. I want the chance to do this right. There it is. But even that is not the last piece. The biggest revelation is still ahead. Because there is another reason your soulmate has hesitated. They know you deserve a choice. They know love cannot be demanded. They know a deep connection does not give anyone ownership over another person. So if they finally speak, they do not want to arrive with pressure. They want to arrive with truth. They want to tell you what they feel. And then allow you to decide what those words mean for your own heart. That may be one of the hardest things love asks of someone. To be honest without controlling the outcome. To say, "This is how I feel," without demanding, "Now you must feel it too." To open the door without pulling someone through it. Your soulmate is learning that. And because they are learning it, their biggest decision may not look dramatic from the outside. It may simply be the moment they finally stop hiding. The moment they write the message. The moment they make the call. The moment they tell the truth. The moment they choose clarity over endless wondering. And before that happens, one hidden sentence remains inside their heart. If I come toward you, I want to come honestly. That sentence carries everything. Their fear. Their growth. Their hope. Their regret. Their respect for you. Their desire not to repeat old patterns. Their wish to offer something better than vague promises. But there is still one final message they have never shared. Stay till the end because this is where everything becomes clearer. Your soulmate has realized that their biggest decision is not actually choosing between you and something else. The deeper decision is choosing between two versions of themselves. The version that keeps hiding whenever feelings become serious. And the version that finally becomes brave enough to be seen. For years, fear may have protected them from rejection. But it also protected them from intimacy. It kept them safe from hearing no. But it also kept them from discovering whether the answer might have been yes. It prevented difficult conversations. But it also prevented beautiful ones. And now they are beginning to understand the price of always staying safe. A safe heart can still become a lonely heart. That realization has shaken them. Because they do not want another year to pass while wondering what might have happened if they had simply been honest. They do not want to look back and realize that the person who mattered was never given the truth. And somewhere inside them, a decision is forming. Not a guarantee. Not a fantasy. A decision. I would rather tell you what is real than spend the rest of my life wondering what silence cost us. What comes next changes everything. Because when your soulmate thinks about approaching you, they are not only imagining what they want to say. They are imagining what they need to hear from you too. Not perfection. Not promises made too quickly. Just truth. If you are afraid, they would rather know. If you need time, they would rather know. If your feelings changed, they would rather face that truth than live inside assumptions. If something from the past hurt you, they would rather understand it than pretend it never happened. Because love cannot heal what two people refuse to name. And your soulmate wants something more meaningful now. They want the kind of connection where silence is not used as punishment. Where distance is not used to create fear. Where affection is not given one day and withdrawn the next to keep someone guessing. Where two people can say, something is wrong, without immediately fearing the relationship will collapse. Where mistakes can be acknowledged. Where boundaries can be respected. where affection feels safe enough to believe. Maybe that is what all the waiting has been preparing them to understand. The delay was not empty. It was teaching them what they would need if the door ever opened again. And now there is one final promise hidden inside their heart. My beloved child, listen carefully. This is the part they wish they could place directly into your hands. I will not ask you to become smaller so I can feel secure. They want you to continue being yourself. They want your dreams to matter. Your voice to matter. Your boundaries to matter. Your peace to matter. Your life to remain yours even inside love. Because the right connection does not erase two people and create one. It allows two complete lives to choose each other without losing themselves. And perhaps that is why your soulmate admires your strength so deeply. They have noticed, even from a distance, that you have continued moving. You have carried things nobody fully understood. You have survived moments that changed you. You have learned to smile after disappointment. You have learned that being loving does not mean accepting everything. You have learned that protecting your heart does not mean closing it forever. Those lessons have been shaping you too. And somewhere between their growth and yours, an unseen path may still be unfolding. But the final truth has finally come into view. Or at least it seems like the final truth. Because there is still one more thing. Your soulmate is not asking you to believe blindly that everything will work out exactly as imagined. They are asking for something quieter. Keep your heart open to what is real. Not what fear tells you. Not what fantasy tells you. What is real? If someone comes toward you with honesty, notice it. If someone consistently chooses you, notice it. If someone respects your peace, notice it. If someone's actions match their words, notice it. And if a connection requires you to abandon yourself to keep it alive, notice that too. Because your soulmate, in the deepest version of this message, would never want love to cost you your self-respect. They would want love to make truth easier. Not harder. And now the biggest decision of their life stands in front of them. Will they continue holding everything inside? Or will they finally allow the truth to become a conversation? They do not know exactly what happens after that. That uncertainty is what frightens them. But it is also what makes the moment real. No script. No guarantee. Just two hearts, perhaps carrying more history than either has admitted, facing the possibility that something unfinished deserves an honest answer. Your soulmate wants you to hear one sentence before they decide. Whatever happens next, knowing you changed something in me. Maybe you taught them that love cannot survive indefinitely inside silence. Maybe knowing you forced them to confront their fears. Maybe losing closeness with you showed them what they had taken for granted. Maybe your absence made them understand what your presence had meant. Maybe your kindness became a standard they could no longer ignore. Maybe your strength showed them the kind of person they wanted beside them. Whatever the reason, you became part of their becoming. And they do not know how to forget that. Now the last piece has arrived. This is the promise beneath every other promise. If they come forward, they want to come with courage. If they speak, they want to speak clearly. If they apologize, they want the apology to mean something. If they ask for another chance, they know they must be willing to build differently. And if life shows them that your path has changed, they want to respect that too. Because real affection does not only say, I want you. Sometimes it says, your peace matters even when my heart is afraid. That is the kind of love they are trying to become capable of giving. And perhaps that is the biggest decision after all. Not simply choosing a person. Choosing what kind of person they will be when love finally asks them to stop hiding. So continue walking. Do not stop living while someone else decides what they are ready for. Do not make yourself smaller because you fear being missed. Do not abandon your dreams to prove your heart is loyal. Keep becoming. Keep healing. Keep laughing. Keep learning. Keep choosing peace when confusion tries to pull you backward. Because whether the next chapter begins with a message, a conversation, an unexpected meeting, or something you cannot yet imagine, you deserve to enter it as the strongest and most honest version of yourself. And somewhere, your soulmate is reaching the same realization. The journey was never only about finding you. It was about becoming ready to recognize you. And if one day your paths come together in the way both hearts have quietly imagined, perhaps there will be a moment when nothing extraordinary appears to be happening. Just two people talking. Two people listening. Two people seeing each other without the old fear. And suddenly, all those delays may look different. The unanswered questions may finally have context. The waiting may no longer feel meaningless. The silence may finally be replaced by something simple and powerful. Truth. Your soulmate's final whisper is this. Please don't believe I needed you to be perfect. I needed to become brave enough to meet you with an open heart. And if our moment comes, I don't want fear deciding for me anymore. So keep your heart open, but keep your feet moving. Keep hope, but keep your peace. Allow love to surprise you without forcing it to arrive. Allow the future to reveal what the past could not explain. Because sometimes the most beautiful chapters begin quietly, while life still looks completely ordinary. And somewhere between everything you have survived and everything you have not yet seen, one decision may already be changing the direction of two hearts. Your soulmate is standing at that threshold now. And the last thing they wish you knew before they choose what comes next is this. If I finally reach for you, I hope you understand why it took me so long. I was not waiting for you to become worthy of my love. I was learning how to become worthy of the truth I wanted to give you.